You know the thing about a shark, Gene? He's got lifeless eyes, black eyes like a doll's eyes, and they rip you to pieces. 1,100 men went into the water. 316 men came out.
They needed your voiceover on the beach.
Oh, God, yes. Oh, 3 Swedes went into the water, and only 1.5 came out.
Remember when we first met John McClane? Argyle picked him up from the plane and took him down the Nakatomi Tower at the Christmas party. And the terrorists were overzealous, but it was sweet when they killed Ellis. And with a little help from Alan, John McClane kicked ass.
Welcome back to Shat the Movies, the podcast where we answer the question, were the movies we loved when we were growing up really that good? Have you ever caught yourself thinking, why don't they make movies like they used to? Can you still remember spending your Friday night searching for the perfect movie rental Blockbuster Video? Do you know what Blockbuster Video is? If you answered yes, and this is the podcast for you, I'm one of your hosts, Gene Lyons, alongside who's my co-host, Big D, Dick Ebert.
Good evening.
And each week, we take a look back in time to decide if our favorite films still hold up. The movies we cover are chosen by you, the listeners, who generously commission the films you love. If you like to see all the movies we have covered, will cover, want to choose one for yourself, please visit shatpod.com and have a look. At the end of each podcast, we'll provide you, the audience, with the number of wipes each movie takes to get off your respective butts. Thank you so much for listening. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button and share with a friend. It's how we help the podcast grow. Additionally, subscribe to our sister podcast, Shat on TV, where we review TV series such as Taboo, American Gods, Game of Thrones, True Detective, Lovecraft Country, Watchmen, and Westworld, which you can only get on DVD. Find all the information at past episodes at shatpod.com/TV. And finally, if you'd like to hang out with us live, follow and subscribe to our Twitch channel, shatpod.com/Twitch, and our YouTube channel, where we play video games, host watch parties, and edit this podcast live. All that being said, Big D, what movie are you reviewing tonight?
So, Gene, a few weeks ago, we talked about being a small independent podcast and the challenges that you face when you're not supported by a large corporation with a set production team and everything. And what keeps us going and helps us keep the lights on is the support of our listeners. Doesn't always have to be financial. It could be just supporting, sharing the podcast. And along the way, we've talked about the Mount Rushmore of Shat on TV, Shat the Movies. And tonight's commissioner and his brothers have been there almost since the beginning of commissions. The Rao brothers have been supporting us. I mean, it's since almost the very beginning, back to 2018. And they've commissioned some classics. Princess Bride, Bad Boys, the Will Smith version, Fletch Lives, Silence of the Lambs, The Great Outdoors, which I believe was for their father in memory of him, Of Mice and Men, classic one. Then Interview with the Vampire, Dutch, Uncle Buck, Police Academy, The Crow, The Karate Kid, Forrest Gump, The Haunted, which is coming up, and tonight's film. These guys have been great, and tonight was a film I've been very excited to go back and watch again. So think Midsummer minus The Flower Crown, plus Point Break times Coachella in Hell. That's tonight's film. It's where paradise is found, sanity lost, tons of mosquitoes and staph infections, and a lot of unprotected sex. So let's think Into the Wild, plus Train Spotting, plus Survivor, Millennials versus Gen X. And that equals tonight's film, the 2000 adventure drama film directed by Danny Boyle, and it is The Beach.
Big D, you're absolutely right. When we first started this podcast, I remember checking week to week to see how many listeners we had. We don't do that anymore. The King Bee asked me the other day, how do you know it's not just the same 12 people commissioning movies? And frankly, I don't care if it is the same 12 people, because they're a good 12 people. It's our family. Between the Discord, our regulars, the email that we get, the voicemail that we get, it's fulfilling for me. I would keep doing this even if a dozen people were listening. It's just a good time. And as you mentioned, Adam is a diehard, longtime Shat the Movies commissioner and listener. And he wrote in and said, "Dear Shat crew, it's been far too long, but I've been following with a fondness like the rest of Clan R. Looking back to get in the fold, I've decided to commission the 2000 indie, in air quotes, indie light film, The Beach. I don't remember when I first saw The Beach, but it was definitely part of my college and shortly thereafter, late night rotation. You know, the kind where you come back from a night out and ask, what do you want to watch? As you convince yourself you're actually going to stay up to watch the whole thing. When you can't decide, you just go to your default. For us, that was usually The Beach." Adam, I know exactly what you're talking about. quesadilla and that beer that you never quite finish. While it's been some time since I've seen it, I do remember loving the editing, the soundtrack, and of course the idea of escapist globetrotting in lieu of facing the real world has a great pull for fearful, soon-to-face said real world college students. As a film, I'm not sure how it will hold up, perhaps even more pressing in this age of Google Maps, geoguessing, smartphones, and influencers. Something like a secret paradise escape being possible seems untenable. But isn't that the point of the beach? Because after all, regarding paradise, it's not where you go, it's how you feel for a moment in your life when you're part of something. And if you find that moment, it lasts forever. Great to be back. Thanks again, Adam. Well, Big D, I admittedly came into the beach not knowing what it was all about. I knew it had Leonardo DiCaprio. I thought it was a spin on the Blue Lagoon, which I have seen before, and I never made a point to watch it in college or during late nights after college. As a fan of Lost, however, I was one of those people. It's one of the few shows that I watched week after week on TV every time a new episode was released. I got really excited when I watched the trailer for The Beach because I thought it was going to be something like Lost. Smoke monsters, maybe some mysterious scientific research that might be the afterlife. That is my love language. That's not what we got with The Beach.
No, so this movie caught me at a weird spot in my life. It was 2000. I was at Fort Campbell. I was in the military. So I was a bit trapped. And you dream about taking leave and going places. So this was an escape for me. The idea of what was I going to do when I was free? What was I going to do with my friends? I was going to travel the world. I was going to have adventure. I bought it on DVD, and it was amazing. I, though, in my mind, remembered it like the Mosquito Coast. I thought it was this utopian, beautiful society that was succeeding, and then something tragic happens. I don't remember Leonardo DiCaprio being such a little shit and destroying any fun and making it a positive place. I thought something tragic would happen. I didn't think it would be Richard.
Well, The Beach is a 2000 adventure drama directed by Danny Boyle based on the 1996 novel of the same name by Alex Garland. The film stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Tilda Swinton, and Robert Carlyle. It was filmed on the Thai island of Koh Phi Phi Lay. The film was a moderate box office success, grossing $144 million against a $50 million budget, but received mixed reviews from critics who praised the film's scenery, soundtrack, and DiCaprio's performance, but criticized it as a muddled adaptation that loses the book's themes and social commentary. Let's hit the trailer.
He was looking for something new, a way to change his life.
Hey, you wanna come? You need somewhere to stay?
No thanks.
You afraid of something new?
I guess there's this urban myth going around here at the moment. It's about a beach.
A secret beach.
On an island that no one can get to.
Somewhere, paradise must exist.
I just feel like everyone tries to do something different, but they always wind up doing the same damn thing. 1 kilometer. 2. Richard? I don't know. I'm thinking miles, not kilometers. I'm American. So let's go.
On a hidden island.
We have so much here to inspire us.
At the edge of the world.
We can jump.
We're not gonna jump. Francoise!
They found all they ever wanted. A paradise few have ever experienced.
I don't suppose that there's any reason that you should spend time with me.
What are you talking about?
Just making conversation.
Do you have a girlfriend?
Why?
Just making conversation.
A temptation
Would you like to come to the beach with me?
they had never known. And a secret no one ever escaped.
I saw them kill 4 people with my own eyes.
Go home. Forget this island.
This is our home too.
Oh, we're not going back.
May God take your soul.
I will not die today!
Richard, a young American seeking adventure in Bangkok, meets a French couple, Francoise and Etienne, in a hotel before encountering Daffy, who tells him of a hidden beach before committing suicide and leaving Richard a map to the island. Richard persuades Francoise and Etienne to accompany him to the island, and the three travel to Koh Samui. There, Richard meets two American surfers, Zeph and Sammy, who have heard rumors of the island, and he leaves them a copy of the map.
So, Gene, the film opens. You have Leonardo DiCaprio. He's doing a voiceover narration, and he's framing Richard's worldview, and he's rejecting. I mean, it's tropey. He's rejecting the norms. I want to chase something different. I want to go on my own path and be dangerous. Now, I know that the intention was this was going to add like some intimacy, some insight into his restless mindset. He had to get away from home, get away from his parents, get away from the girlfriend that broke his heart. But for others like me, the narration, it comes across as pretentious. It spells out the theme of the movie. Why couldn't you just shown us? You didn't have to have Richard telling us. It's a kind of device that could divide audiences. I hated it right away. I was like, let me see Richard just walking around the streets. What did you think of it? Did the narration bother you?
Big D, my exact notes were these slick 2000s voiceovers are just too much. Whether it was hackers or train spotting or Green Street hooligans, this sort of thing was very in vogue at the time. And sometimes you get an iconic monologue. Sometimes you get Fight Club. Other times you get pretentious turnoff, which is what happened with the beach. Thankfully, there was one golden nugget when Richard says, never refuse an invitation, never resist the unfamiliar, never fail to be polite, and never outstay the welcome. Like, okay, that's good advice for an adventurer. But the rest of it, I completely agree with you. It came off as being too cool for its own good. And I'm no stranger to sleeping in hostels or scoping out odd clubs in Europe or walking foreign streets at 3 a.m. I am that guy. But I also wouldn't consider myself a Richard level thrill seeker. He is in Thailand, which already has me uncomfortable. He's looking for something beyond the tourist thing, which the tourist thing in Thailand already is extreme by my standards. And that idea, like you said, of looking to be something beyond a tourist, it's already become cliche at this point. Despite being a Muay Thai fan, Southeast Asia, just as a region, I'm talking Cambodia, Vietnam, it's a place I've never wanted to visit. It just seems, and guys, I pardon my ignorance, okay, ignorant American here, but it seems to me unsanitary, risky, dare I say too tropical. And as normie as it sounds, I am a brave adventurer in the United States and Western Europe, not elsewhere. In any other country, Mexico included, I'm sticking to an all-inclusive resort. How about you, Big D?
Before we get to what I think, Gene, let's just play a little hypothetical game here. If you have an adult male coworker, and he comes and goes, "Hey, Gene, by the way, I'm going to Bangkok alone for a couple weeks to find myself." What do you think is going on?
He's going to fuck a ladyboy.
Oh, I think 100%.
Yeah.
I think about Walton Goggins in The White Lotus. He's going out there to maybe find a ladyboy or find his friend, like to go find yourself, to explore. This place is fucking crazy. I couldn't do it. I've had friends who have gone in groups or met up with friends there, but I couldn't do it alone by myself. Like Leo goes there, and it seems like he's been in a dark place. He's escaping something, but it's a different type of courage. Might be a little stupid, but the beach, it captures that mix. He's excited. He's unsure. It's showing the danger of Bangkok and why it might be a place that he wants to go. But I'm watching this, and when I had first seen it, I remember this being motivational for me to expand my world and to go out and to seek adventures like this. But as the film goes on, I start seeing a different side of me that was a little embarrassing, and I had to have some self-realizations. When Richard, he meets up with the French couple, and there is Francoise. She's the pretty French girl, and the boyfriend's asleep, and they're on the beach, and she's got a real film camera, and she says she has a hobby of wanting to shoot the stars. And right away, now I'd be like, really? On a film camera, you're going to take pictures of the starry night to to memorialize your nights. But Richard starts going into this whole thing like, oh, if we look up at the skies, there's countless universes, and some other world is probably another version of me and you sitting there looking at each other, doing the same thing. It's supposed to be profound, but thankfully she immediately calls him on it. Like, this is something an American guy would say to try to get laid. And I realized, holy shit, those bullshit lines I used to throw to try to sound witty. Oh, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey. All that bullshit I used to say to girls. And I didn't intend it to get laid, but I just wanted to seem worldly and, insightful and sound deep. You were an angsty poet. You wrote songs. You wrote about girls. You used to journal. This seems
Still
right
do.
up your alley. Was there ever a time that you either broke out a journal or tried to say something so deep and profound that some girl pulled the bullshit card on you?
Honestly, one of my biggest regrets about college was the way I conducted myself with women, because I had an amazing girlfriend at the time. Like, she was drop dead gorgeous, totally sweet to me, 100% loyal. And I was awful to her because I was in this era when I was questioning morality and I was incredibly nihilistic, right? So it was like there were no absolutes. We were beyond good and evil, all that stuff. And so I was playing with those ideas, but I was experimenting like a mad scientist with my own life, right? So it wasn't theoretical anymore. And I would actually have these conversations out loud with women who probably didn't really give a shit about it, but I was earnestly pondering, these questions. Is true love a thing? Obviously, love is a construct, and therefore, is any of it true? And is it more ethical, right, to explore and share yourself with hundreds of people or one person? What's the correct way to go through life? Those were legitimate questions, but I didn't need to vocalize them.
No. This was a rule that I told you I went by a long time ago. You fucked up by saying too much. Guys talk themselves out of getting laid more than talk themselves into it.
Now, you say that all the time, but that's assuming that my purpose was to get laid. It wasn't.
No, but
literally
I'm talking about
having
your
the conversation.
Intent. All of these girls were probably like, "Oh, why won't he just shut the fuck up?"
Oh, fucking one. They've told me, like, in hindsight, you make friends with these people and decades later, they'll tell you were a fucking dipshit in college. Like, I wanted you to shut the fuck up. But fast forward to present day, I don't know if you and Vanessa, you guys have been married a lot longer than Sarah and I have. If you still have these conversations before falling asleep or what they are, but this is still me pretty much every night. Last night, I rambled at length while Sarah was trying to go to bed. Mind you, she's waking up every few hours to feed a baby. And as she's trying to go to sleep, I started going on about the human urge to procreate. I'm like, well, clearly from a biological perspective, it is a legacy project. You have this urge to pass down your genes and continue. Some part of you can continue going. But at the same time, the essence of mortality is that you get wiped out. So that renders such a project futile. Is the point of humanity the realization that you are a mortal being that will not have a legacy, even though it is coded within you to try to procreate in order to create a legacy?
Here's the beautiful thing. You've just realized the errors of your way when you were younger, but yet you still step in that same pile of shit. You stepped in it last night. Stop.
Yeah. No.
Leave her alone. She doesn't want to hear that. Leave her alone.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I have a Substack, and I just write in the Substack, and I write in my journal. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Some of my Substacks aren't public. Some of them are just for me and the baby, who has an email address and is my only Substack subscriber. Yeah. After swimming to the island from a neighboring island, Richard, Etienne, and Francoise find a cannabis plantation guarded by armed Thai farmers. Avoiding detection, they make their way across the island and meet Kitty, who brings them to a community of travelers living on the island in secret. Sal, the community's English leader, explains that the farmers allow them to stay so long as they keep to themselves and do not allow any more travelers to come to the island. Richard lies and says they have not shown the map to anyone else. The trio become integrated into the community. Francoise and Richard start an affair, and the community finds out. An angry Etienne says he will not stand in their way if Francoise is happier with Richard. So our first encounter with danger on this island after swimming there is a monkey. They see this giant weed field, and one of the farmers is napping while tied to what appears to be a security monkey. And we learn that monkeys serve as lookouts for these Thai farmers. They're also sort of like bloodhounds. They help them seek out people that might be hiding in the fields. And I'm willing to believe, I didn't look it up, but as a dog owner, I can tell you, you're never going to get a decent nap tied to a monkey. My dogs, they are all 6 years and older. They have lived in suburban neighborhoods their whole life. They live in our house. There's a big window. They can see cars. They can see people all the time. They go on walks. They see cars. They see people all the time. They still shit themselves when they see a car or a person or another dog or a cat or a tree moving. Now multiply that by the monkey factor. Monkeys are monkeying around like they're notoriously unruly. That motherfucker would be waking up his keeper every time a jungle frog farted.
Yeah, but I think this is proof that Danny Boyle does not know shit about monkeys. This is an English guy writing about monkeys. Monkeys are notorious for being mischievous, especially like I did research on these people. In Southeast Asia, in Bali and Thailand, they will work in groups and coordinate their mischief. They will steal stuff like cell phones, sunglasses, food. They will work in packs. They're super smart. They make noise intentionally to annoy people. They will fuck around with each other. They'll fuck around in the zoo. I think everybody knows about the monkeys. All the primates will throw shit. They will grab it at the zoo, throw it, and run and hide. I can imagine these monkeys, if you leave them alone, it's cute to see them tied up. Like, hey, that monkey's not going to sit there patiently. He's going to teabag the guy when he's asleep. Or he's going to shit in his mouth or pee in his mouth. They're going to fuck with him.
I just want to talk to Thai farmer security. Like I could be a Thai farmer security consultant. Like, guys, you got like 8 dudes in a field where the cannabis is up to your eyeballs. One of your guys is taking a nap tied to a monkey. Maybe, just hear me out. You build like a little watchtower or something like that. You get like 2 dudes with binoculars. Okay. Maybe get some dogs. Maybe some dogs instead of monkeys. It's Thailand. You got plenty of dogs. You could do a better job of going about this. A fence might be a thing. I don't know.
Either way, these monkeys are going to go nuts and they're going to wake up these guys with guns, and that's going to end badly. He's already drank snake blood. Now he's got these guys with guns. This is fucking crazy. They somehow make it out of there, and then they're hit with a physical barrier to going further into the island. And it's a fear that I have even to this day. When I grew up in New York, in upstate New York, we used to spend every weekend. My grandparents had a little plot of land and a little shed that we were converting into a house. And every weekend we would go up there. There was no TV. There was no shopping center. I felt very much like it was the island. We would go there. We would be isolated. But the only activity that there was the Esopus Creek. It was a river, and then there was an abandoned bridge on top of it. I was terrified. People would jump off the bridge into the water. You didn't know if a tree had fallen and been like washed downstream. There was the danger of broken bottles, trees, pieces of the abutment, and the steel like caissons being broken off. I never did it because I was afraid of what was under the water. And to watch these 3 come up to the end of a cliff, not know what is in the water below, and to just jump, I don't know if it's brave, if it's stupid, but out of all the risks that these kids took, this is the one that I never could have done.
Every time the King Bee takes me kayaking on the lower Salt River, there's this big rock. It's kind of mid-river, and he'll climb up on it and challenges me to jump off of it. Big D, I've seen The Deer Hunter. I know what happens when you hit water real hard and you don't know what's underneath it. I'm not jumping into a river off of a big rock. Like you said, who knows what could have shifted since the last time you were there? At least in the river, a helicopter come get me from the county, or like somebody driving by could say like, hey, that guy's fucked up and he's got his legs broken. They could drag me to the road or something. Forbidden Island, forget it. Also, fuck Keaty for not being like, hey guys, jump. It's okay. Like he can clearly see they're up there. He's hanging out. He lives on the island. He's been there for a while. He's been through this, right? And he just waits until they jumped in. Ha, ha, ha. It took me about an hour to work up the courage. All right, come with me. Let's go to the commune.
Well, I don't think he would have thought that they earned it. You have to earn your entrance into the camp.
Yeah, again, I don't want to be friends with anybody who thinks I have to earn it, right?
Right. Imagine if somebody like went off and like shattered their leg.
Right.
And he was there and be like, shit, I should have told you, jump to the right.
Yeah, I could have told you in 4 different languages. And Big D, I'm sorry, but the reward for swimming island to island, surviving the Thai farmers, jumping off the waterfall is we get to the beach. And I'm sorry, but I expected the beach to be an actual paradise. Like fruit is just falling off of trees. There's an open bar, maybe some self-roasting pigs. Richard shows up at camp. People have jobs. Already, I'm out. This is not paradise. I have to work. You have to share your living space with a bunch of like Burning Man rejects. The menu every day is fish and rice. And I understand the idea is that this is a destination that satisfies the true traveler, not a tourist. But the movie just isn't selling me on the wonder of this beach. I feel like Richard would have had a better time in Cancun or if he'd stayed in Bangkok. And I got to wonder, like, how long can a perfect beach, no matter how perfect, keep you entertained?
No, I think this would have kept me entertained. I didn't need the bar. Yes, it would have been great to have alcohol. Maybe you were like fermenting some crop or making your own, or
too much work.
We could do it. Or maybe we were growing our own marijuana, maybe some psilocybin, some mushrooms, some other drugs. I would be okay. I don't need the self-roasting pig. But where is the hedonism? They're playing all kinds of like sports on the beach, and they're sitting around learning languages, and they're telling stories. But if I want to join some hippie commune, I want partner swapping. I want a lot of physical contact. I want people who are going to go around fully liberated. Maybe there's some nudity. Maybe people have shed all of the constraints of modern civilized life. People are free to say what they want, do what they want. That's the shit I want. I want people hooking up, people just enjoying their bodies. That's what we should have in a commune. But as an old man now, all I could think about, there's no SPF. Are these people running around on the beach all day? They're going to get burned. I said, holy shit, there's no first aid. There's no backup plan. What if somebody gets injured? And I just kept thinking, I'm like, this isn't paradise. This is an infection waiting to happen. I wanted to go sit in the shade and rub aloe from one of the native plants on my back.
I'm just imagining you as Kurtz in Heart of Darkness, like you just Lord of the beach, sitting there with little impish children scrambling around you.
I would have been taking like palm fronds and like making like large hats. I would have been making like little satchels and all kinds. I would look like Kurtz.
When Sal selects Richard to accompany her on a supply run to the mainland, they encounter the American surfers who are preparing to search for the island and mention Richard's map. Sal is upset, but believes Richard when he says they have no copy of the map. To ensure Sal's confidentiality, Richard has sex with her at her order. On the return to the island, Richard lies to Francoise about having sex with Sal. A shark attack kills one of the community fishermen and severely wounds Christo, who refuses to be taken to the mainland for medical treatment. As his condition worsens, the islanders leave him in the jungle to die, but Etienne refuses to abandon him.
In Adam's letter, I was glad to hear him talk about the fact that this film feels so dated, even though it was 2000. The premise of The Beach, it hinges on this sense of mystery, this isolation. It's the only way this could work is pre-smartphone. It's a hidden location. It's discovered through hand-drawn maps that you meet a guy on the beach as you share a beer that he got from another crazy guy who stayed in a hotel and then killed himself or maybe was murdered in some kind of seedy Bangkok hotel room. And that is the adventure. No GPS. No online trail or what they call it, like geo-hunting, none of that. But once the island, with the absence of cameras and social media, the community there, it can remain a secret. People, they just enjoy it. They live in the moment. They talk to each other. Today, in the world of today, people would, when they're saying, hey, you're going back to the island, Richard, you got to go get me a charger. Go get me a battery pack. Go get me a Ring camera so I can set up my whatnot and start vlogging and doing my TikTok videos. The world of this does not exist anymore. Today, somebody would find the beach, they would immediately post about it on TikTok, and it would be swarmed like so many of these other beautiful, iconic worldwide locations that get destroyed by people going and just to take pictures of themselves.
I do love when I see the YouTube video or the TikTok video of like 5 undiscovered places in Costa Rica. Well, not anymore, bro. You just ruined it for everybody. Big D, we got to start going underwater, right? Like 70% of Earth's surface is unexplored because it's underwater. Who knows what's out there?
Yeah, we fucking tried that. We tried that with the Titan subs.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't work. But ironically, this film actually fucked up the environment. It took place in Maya Bay in Thailand. It was pristine. 20th Century Fox, they altered the entire beach for production. The local group sued them, claiming they caused lasting ecological damage. So then the beach was closed in 2018 for rehabilitation. So even back then, before social media, we managed to fuck up this beautiful natural environment.
Humans are a virus. We're a cancer. Fucking terrible. And Big D, there's a moment in Love Actually when Emma Thompson gets, spoiler alert, cheated on. And she says that you've made a fool of me. Like that's the part that hurts when you get cheated on. And it really is, like when you think about it, like being lied to, having somebody break a promise to you, that's one thing. But when there are other people who know a secret about your partner that you don't know, when you're the last to know, when somebody might be kind of laughing at you, that's the part that hurts the most. And we get that with Francoise. And I was so sad for her when Richard cheated on her and then lied to her face about it, right? Because everybody else on the island knows. She believes him that, he says he didn't sleep with Sal when he did. Now, granted, she cheated on Etienne, so kind of what goes around comes around. But Richard never deserved this beautiful Frenchwoman in the first place. And Key calls it out when he scores Richard and Francoise on his index of incompatibility, which is brilliant. It's a tool I wish I'd known about growing up because I had a really strong imagination when I was younger that fooled me into thinking that I could pair up with basically anybody, right? I would see somebody that I thought was pretty or interesting or cool, and I could see myself with her, but I never would run through the index of incompatibility. And if I had, I could have saved myself a lot of trial and error and said, hey, realistically, what do you have in common with her? Do you like the same things? Are you, do you have the same life goals? Are you driven in the same ways? Do you speak the same language? Thankfully now I can still try to using it on the King Bee, because he seems unaware. He'll see people in like my social circles, like hashers, and be like, oh yeah, like get her to go out with me. I'm like, oh, you want the distance runner who goes to Burning Man every year to be your girlfriend? How do you think that's going to work out?
See, but I think it's a numbers game. I think King Bee needs to like all possibilities. You never know what could, I've seen King Bee. I've seen him on dating apps where I've said, do not swipe. There's no way that's going to work out. And it does. Not long term, but at least momentarily.
I just wish you'd be realistic and go, okay, hey, so I want somebody who also lays on the couch for 12 hours a day and is unwilling to change their habits in any way, enjoys firearms and kayaks, No,
I don't think that would end well either way. He needs to have an imagination. At least there's something going on. 2 king bees, a male king bee and a female like queen bee. That's not going to end very well. No. I don't think it'll be good. But the first half of this movie has been upbeat. You could tell by the music. It's like, oh wow, this is so great. We're having a good time. It's almost like it's a rave, or we're like some kind of chill out, like 2000, like a chill Brazil CD mix of music. Everything's going great. Until one moment, Richard gets back from the trip, and there's the shark attack. And the Swedes, they're attacked, 3 of them. We don't even see the attack. We don't see the shark. All you hear is the screams in the distance. And when it comes to it, I was shocked. Even though I've seen this movie and I remember it vividly, I did not remember how we went from this pristine environment to a horror show. There's a pool of blood. There's a giant river of blood. The injuries, one of the guys basically has the back of his leg is ripped open and missing. Another guy's torso There's a big bite out of it and it's just hanging there. All the islanders are scrambling around. They're trying to put direct pressure. I'm like, direct pressure doesn't work when there's put a tourniquet on them. It is brutal. And it does flip a switch in my head. How the first half is so happy. Everyone's having a good time, Gene. It's this utopian environment. It's great. And then it is brutally just a nightmare immediately. And I think we've all experienced this where you're having a good time and something happens and the fun is immediately over. From this point on in the movie, it was a harder watch. I think the first half is upbeat. The ideas of that they're trying to convey about experiences and going out there and living life. At this point, it became hard to watch.
At first, I rolled my eyes at the thought of a shark attacking 3 guys at once. I was like, that's convenient for the plot. All of these guys went in the water and the shark bit 2 of them. But it turns out even one shark can become confused in a frenzy of action. And let's be fair to sharks. They don't mean to attack a bunch of people, but shit's getting crazy in the water. Everyone's flailing. There's blood. And it does so happen that they can bite multiple people in a crowd, especially likely, by the way, when a warship goes down. Because there's lots of people in the water. It's very confusing for the shark. There's metal, there's fire. And so that's why you would see, particularly in like World War II, where there would be these massive shark attacks because so much was going on that they were not used to. And like you, Big D, I was screaming at the first aid attempts happening here. In particular, their ill preparedness, right? These guys bought rice and maxi pads and Game Boy batteries. Nobody bought a first aid kit. Nobody bought a tourniquet. And then I saw the bite to the torso. I knew that Swede was a goner. I'm surprised they all didn't die very quickly.
No, I would have expected it. And I'm glad you didn't give us that whole Jaws rendition of the USS Indianapolis and the sinking. 50 men went in the water and only 8 came out. I thought you were going to go full blown.
What is that accent?
That. I don't know. He's a surly, like, New England guy. 50 men.
He's not a pirate. When the surfers turn up on the neighboring island, Sal orders Richard to send them away and destroy their map. She tells everyone that she and Richard had sex, which leaves Francoise angry and heartbroken. Isolated from the group, Richard begins to lose his sanity, imagining that he is conversing with the deceased Daffy. The surfers reach the island, but are killed by the farmers. Shocked at witnessing their deaths, Richard smothers Christo to put him out of his misery and gathers Francoise and Etienne to leave the island.
So I honestly am watching this before I'd done any research. I did not realize it was Danny Boyle. Okay, so as the movie's going, I'm like, holy shit, this is a lot like Train Spotting. And not even realizing, yes, that was Danny Boyle. And Danny Boyle today, you think of him, he's done a lot of good stuff. He did The Beach, did the 28 Days, the months, the years, that whole series. He did Slumdog Millionaire. He's done a lot of cool stuff that's different. Like Yesterday, that What If movie where the Beatles had never existed. But at this point, he had just come off of Train Spotting. It's a big hit, and the man could not resist. He's trying to create Train Spotting as if it was a beach. It is the same thing. You have Richard's hallucinating. He's in a video game. There's a lot of these manic scenes that reminded me of Train Spotting. And he goes back to these old tricks. The way he edits, the quick cutting. I think at this point it was what he knew would work. And a lot of it felt like a fever dream that didn't fit into it. You got the soundtrack. Instead of letting us hear the jungle, make it almost minimalistic, something instrumental. It felt like a 2000 vibe where you get Moby, or you get all of these like Faithless, or you get Blur. All of this music. I mean, everything is like this. This could be in the beach. When we went there in Thailand, it was a beautiful time. We went on an adventure. We learned, Etienne, come here. Francoise, this is what it could be. All of these. How about this one, Gene? I thought for sure you would know this one. Yes, this is on it as well. You got some Blur, you get some Moby. It felt heavy-handed. It was a lot of, it felt very Y2K. I wish that he had done something a little bit different.
Oddly, this was my favorite part of the movie, but I'm not justifying it. It doesn't fit with the rest. But stylistically, I thought it was outstanding for 2000. We get the video game elements, the Vietnam hallucinations. Yeah. Leo goes feral for a bit. I would say A+ for Sizzle. It's fun to watch on its own. But I agree with you, Big D, like C- for logic. How does this fit in the movie? Why is it here? And like you said, it's like Danny Boyle just couldn't help himself.
No, but here's, because I don't remember Trainspotting. I know he's a drug addict. I don't remember what he's doing. What was it? What was the drunk that Ewan McGregor was doing in Trainspotting?
Heroin.
It was heroin? Okay.
Everybody was doing heroin. In
Here,
yeah.
What drug is Richard doing? The only thing we see him do is he eats a centipede.
Yeah.
He eats, or like some kind of like little like earthworm, some grub or something. He eats it in the jungle. And then the movie all of a sudden gets like crazy surreal. I don't know if, is he hallucinating? Is he going crazy? Has he lost his grip on reality?
I think we're meant to believe that his isolation from the community, right, is what's driving him nuts, because he seems to really overreact too. When Sal says, hey, you got to be at this lookout spot until they come to the island, he's like, you can't do this to me. Dude, you're like 100 yards from camp. You're not starving to death. What is the problem here? This is not like an incredible punishment, but for some reason being separated from the group. And so I think possibly, this is just me trying to make sense of it, that isolation is considered untenable by the residents of this beach. Like, that's how much of a paradise it is, that when you're exiled from it, even temporarily, you go nuts.
But this doesn't seem to be grounded in any reality. She doesn't say,
no,
you're going to be here for a month.
No,
you're going to stay in some cave alone. This is like 48 hours, and he goes completely crazy. He goes into a deep state of psychosis, of madness. It's hard to believe. And then all of a sudden, like you said, you mentioned the Vietnam. This flips into some parallel Apocalypse Now. Richard, he goes straight Martin Sheen journey with we have the surreal, the narration. The beginning now feels like Apocalypse Now. The voiceover, the jungle imagery, the ceiling fan, the whoo, 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 and the helicopter blades. You get the flashbacks to Duffy in the motel or the hotel or whatever it is that he's saying, and it reinforces. It's stay, or what was it? The what was the place you put me up in, Gene? It's okay.
Sure stay.
Yeah, sure stay here. It's okay. So I know what this hotel is like, Gene, because I stayed there in Arizona. But it's like Kurtz. It feels like he's gone crazy, but we don't get the cause of it. It feels unearned. This is not Coppola. Why did Boyle all of a sudden try to parrot everything that he had seen work in Apocalypse Now?
Again, it's not a great choice. I can't justify it. But if any good came of this segment of the film, it's a testament to how good Leonardo DiCaprio is. He salvages some degree of gravity and charm here. There's a scene where he sneaks into the farmer's hut and he like quietly steals the AK and he points it at the leader who's sleeping and goes, poof, and then puts it back and he pilfers the gunman's head wrap and he's like, whoo, and ties it on. That's pretty badass. Like, it was enjoyable to watch. I'm not saying it makes sense. I'm not saying it's earned. What I am saying is Leonardo DiCaprio took some shit and put a shine to it.
I'm going to do some fanfic here, okay? Because later on, when all the farmers show up at the commune, he drops the fact that, listen, you're that fucking kid who's been sneaking in our tent, taking our guns, fucking around. Maybe everything we've seen is through Richard's eyes. Richard, though, was really just some hallucinating, fucked up kid stumbling around the jungle. And these farmers are like, who is this clown? He wasn't some like technical, like he wasn't like a some kind of special forces guy doing punji sticks in the middle of the path and setting up all of these ambushes and all of these booby traps and doing like covert surveillance and sneaking into their compound. Maybe he was actually just some stupid kid and we're only seeing it through his eyes, because he couldn't have been. This kid was stumbling around Thailand and now all of a sudden he's John Rambo.
Oh, to be fair, these are farmers. Like, they're not Thai special forces either. They're farmers who happen to have guns.
Right. They know their environment. They got monkeys. They got trained monkeys, Gene. These guys should be good. But a lot of this shit doesn't make sense. So now I start losing track of time because the movie, we're going to go back. So Richard, he goes into his jungle descent, right? The newcomers show up. They've got the map. They're on the distant island. And he is told he has to stay there. He's responsible for them when they come over. It seems like it's maybe 48 hours, maybe 3 or 4 days. But yet somehow he has time then to go through the camps. He descends deeper. He goes back again. Now they're building a raft. They come over. He lets them come up. They get shot. He goes back into camp. Somehow that Swede is still alive. That Swede who got bitten on the leg and he now has gangrene. I'm thinking, how long has this dude been alive? Is there something? Was nobody keeping track of the time? Because either this Swede, that's one tough motherfucker who has survived, maybe it looked like a month. And he probably was like, please, guys, put me on a boat. Take me back. Just get me some antibiotics. Anybody have penicillin? Did you keep track of this time? Did it make sense?
No, I was surprised when I saw that Christo was still alive, that Etienne was still out in that tent, because like you, I thought that he had been out there for quite a while and really, really lost it. But then you start to put the pieces together and no, it actually seems to be a couple of days, which you wonder, how did he drop into this psychosis? It really doesn't add up. I think it's a gaping hole in the film. And we're not the only ones who notice this. Obviously, this film has been critiqued, and that's one of the things that came up. One of the reasons, again, why they said soundtrack, ? Good. Leo, good. Maybe the story itself, not so well constructed. The farmers are furious with the community for breaking their deal not to allow any more newcomers. The lead farmer gives Sal a gun loaded with a single bullet and orders her to make a choice. Kill Richard and the group will be allowed to stay, or else they all must leave immediately. Sal pulls the trigger, but the chamber is empty. Shocked by her willingness to commit murder, the other members of the community abandon Sal, leave the island, and go their separate ways. Back in the United States, Richard receives an email from Francoise with a nostalgic group photo of the beach community in happier times. Can I just say, both the farmers and Sal are pretty reasonable when it comes to killers and cult leaders. These are conceivably the villains in the film. Now, they don't have to be strict villains, but they are definitely antagonists to Richard, right? The farmers are perfectly okay with Coachella happening in their backyard, as long as the population doesn't grow. Mm-hmm. That deal gets broken. One of their guys gets impaled on punji sticks. Oh. They show up and they say, hey guys, we've got mouths to feed with the weed money. If you fuck up our grow operation, our families don't eat. That's not evil. That's an economic reality. They're saying you can stay here, just don't break the rules, and then the rules get broken. When Christo is badly wounded, you would expect any cult leader out there to say, hey, we got to kill Christo. Hey, you can't leave the island because you would expose us. You open your big mouth. She doesn't do that. She says, you can go to the mainland for a doctor. Christo is the one that says, I'm afraid to go on the water. I can't do it. He signs his own death warrant, right? Sal isn't a mob boss. She gives him options. She also doesn't tell Richard, hey, those surfers showed up. You need to go kill them. She says, go get rid of them and destroy the map. When handed that revolver and given the choice to shoot Richard or surrender the colony, I can't say Sal made the wrong choice. Richard has proven himself to be a piece of shit. He's lied to everybody. If he would have told her when they were on the mainland, hey, yeah, I gave those guys a map, they could have solved the problem. Toot the sweet. Get the map from them and your problems are gone.
When he shows up, she even holds on to that little piece of information that he's the one who made the map. She could have immediately dropped the dime on him. She tried to work it out. The head farmer, he doesn't even be like, who the fuck is burying bamboo stakes in the fucking path? My cousin is now in the hospital. Why did you do that?
Who's splashing my monkey?
Yes. Who's fucking around with my monkey? Who's throwing rocks at our camp? Who is that? But he knows who it is. And Richard's a piece of shit. Why the fuck did Richard finally decide to kill Christos? Christos didn't say, put me out of my misery. He just wanted to like kill the bad vibe. Gene, why did he kill Christos?
Well, he killed Christo because Christo was going to be abandoned. So he's either going to lie in a tent and die of gangrene, or he's going to get suffocated.
You don't have to do it. Richard didn't have to choose to suffocate him.
You're going to let him just lie there and die of gangrene? Nobody's coming to take care of him.
Gene, I would have tried. I would have dragged you to the coast. I would have built a raft. I would have treated you like Moses. Isn't Moses the one who you put the baby out in the little bassinet and sent him down the Nile? But at the end of the beat, it's all about Richard. Richard, we're supposed to like this kid, but he's a complete fuck up. And the ending of the beach, it felt like a joke, like an add-on. Let me remind you, Richard destroyed this community. He gets people killed. He ruins everything. He ruins this beautiful utopia. Why? Because the head girl, Sal, wanted to have sex with you and your girlfriend caught you cheating and you're lying. Then you go into some kind of crazed psychosis. We see him at the end after all this has happened. He's in like an internet cafe. And he gets this email with the photo and says something like, "Love, Francoise." And it was like some animated GIF fucking postcard. And then he says in a voiceover, "And me, I still believe in paradise. But now at least I know it's not some place you can look for. Because it's not where you go. It's how you feel for a moment in your life when you're part of something. And if you find that moment, it lasts forever." No, it doesn't last forever, Richard. It lasts until some dumb fuck like you ruins it. This is a twisted life lesson that doesn't match the chaos we just watched. The problem is Richard ruined everything. People died. Utopia collapsed. And then he walks away acting like he's found some profound truth that he's going to preach to us in a voiceover. Either this is some delusion continuing saying that Richard's been mentally ill this whole movie, because this has no meaning in what we've just watched.
Is the whole point that Americans can just go fuck everything up and come home with no consequences? Is that what they're trying to say?
I think it has to. And normally I would say you're crazy, but the fact of those 4 American backpackers, and the guy goes, "American, American," and he's showing the flag, and then he gets immediately shot. And the other guy says, "American money, U.S. money." He gets shot. Maybe it is. Maybe there was some subtext that Boyle hates Americans.
Yeah, I mean, by extension, though, that makes Richard, in the end, just another tourist. Like, what did he do? He went to Thailand. He experienced something different, and then he came back to U.S., and he settled back into his normal internet cafe lifestyle, which, by the way, pangs of nostalgia. I remember the internet cafes fondly. Remember, you just go check your email once a day. It was novel. It was novel. Had a university email address.
Yeah. It was, what was it? Excite? Or what was the...
What was that?
What was the email that he used? Excite?
I think it was Excite, yeah.
Yeah, I think it would have been a better ending if all of a sudden he locked eyes with a ladyboy, and then he walks out.
Jesus Christ.
He's on to his next adventure.
Well, now it's the time of the podcast. We give our Shat score for The Beach. The Shat score is our way of telling you how many wipes this movie takes to get our perspective. But 0 wipes is a perfect movie. It's when she wishes to have sex again before you eat breakfast. And 5 wipes is an absolute disaster of a film. It's when you find an island paradise and there's a man with a guitar. Big D, we'll start with you. What is your wipe score for The Beach?
Gene and dear listeners, I hope that my review has not been tainted by the vodka, which I've been drinking as I've been going. But for me, I think the movie, it's a gorgeous mess. There's moments where the cinematography and the location alone is stunning. But once you get to the island, the story unravels quickly. The voiceovers are trying to make it sound deep and meaningful. The first half is my favorite. It's exciting. It's dangerous. It shows you the adventure of traveling. But the second half goes Apocalypse Now cosplay with Richard losing his mind in the jungle, and the flashbacks with him and Daffy manning the M60 and shooting out the window of the hotel and mowing down people in some kind of crazed fantasy. It was bizarre. It felt hollow to me. But you can't get over the fact the cast, visually beautiful. It led to the destruction of so many beautiful sites around the world that people thought, I'm going to go travel and shoot some photos for Instagram there. But it's a 3.25 white movie for me. Ambitious, beautiful, but ultimately, it's failed.
I think I took a much more superficial view of this film. I enjoyed it for the visuals. I enjoyed it for the sexuality. I enjoyed it for Leonardo DiCaprio being Leonardo DiCaprio. And when you think about it, like, this is still where Leo hadn't settled into like Leo, like in the way that Jack Nicholson hadn't settled into being Jack. You know, there was a time when they were a little bit more fluid as actors, and seeing him as this guy was really enjoyable for me. I don't think it's a great movie. I do think it's above average, and I would watch it again. I'm going 2 wipes. And with 2 wipes from me and 3.25 wipes from Big D, that gives us an average wipe score of 2.625 wipes for The Beach.
So, Gene, with that wipe score, that now ties us in the 122 spot with Crocodile Dundee, LA Stories, My Cousin Vinny, Poltergeist, and First Blood Part 2.
Classic.
It's visually beautiful. I mean, you could almost watch this without any kind of dialogue. I would rather do it that way, I think.
There's some hotties in it. Got some good boobs.
It could always be more.
It's true. Really, if you think about it, you had a bunch of people who had very small roles in this film, didn't have to talk a lot, mostly background. The rest of the members of The Beach, they just should have been boobs and butts everywhere.
Seriously, people like bathing in the water.
Yeah.
You know, we had Miss Sandy in Game of Thrones, you know, washing with all of the Unsullied. Give us a scene like that. People doing laundry, people just walking around. It's supposed to be like a free society, and it was anything but.
Well, Adam, welcome back to the fold. Welcome back to The Beach.
And Gene, what do we have coming up next week?
Big D, I'm so glad you asked. When Slacker Anton has his right hand possessed by a demonic force, it kills his 2 best buddies, who return to life as wisecracking zombies. In addition to murdering those closest to him, Anton's evil hand significantly hinders his chances with his lovely neighbor, Molly. The upcoming film was released April 30th, 1999, directed by Rodman Flender, and commissioned by listener Christopher H.
I mean, there's nothing more 1999 than Jessica Alba and Seth Green in a
Devin
zombie.
Sawa.
Yeah.
And Vivica Fox. And Jack Noseworthy from Dead at 21.
Yeah.
Guys, it is spook this and you know what this means? This means spooky season officially upon us.
100%. This crew could do a Final Destination.
Yes.
This could be that cast.
Well, thank you to Christopher for the upcoming commission. Thank you, Adam, for commissioning The Beach. Thank you to all the commissioners who make this podcast possible. That concludes this week's episode of Shat the Movies. You should follow us on social media and share with a friend. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram at Shat the Movies. You can email us, host at shatpod.com. Also go to shatpod.com, use the SpeakPipe feature to leave us a voicemail. Support the podcast by shopping our Amazon affiliate link, buying our merch, or by commissioning your own movie. Find all information by visiting our website, shatpod.com. Also, check out our sister podcast, Shat on TV, review TV series such as Lovecraft Country, Westworld, True Detective, Taboo, American Gods, Game of Thrones, and Watchmen. Find all information by visiting our website, shatpod.com/TV, wherever fine podcasts be found, including Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube. Be sure to subscribe, and if you stop by Apple Podcasts, please leave a 5-star review. That helps the podcast grow. Also, special shout out to listener David, who took night school and just passed his final test for his GED. He said that our podcast episodes got him through the times when he felt like quitting and giving up. So he thanked us for the hard work on the podcast. Thank you, David, for sticking to it, man. And I know that you're a parent of 2. I can only imagine how much work that was. And being an adult and continuing to learn is a huge accomplishment. So kudos to you.
Hell yeah. Thank you. Glad that we could help you in any way.
On behalf of my co-host, Big D, I'm Gene Lyons. Join us next time for the following movie.
So I came all the way over here. You said you was holding.
I didn't say what I was holding.
Anton Tobias never had much on his mind.
Don't you think you should have like a goal?
My dream life would be to lie around all day in bed and watch TV while some hot broad delivers me food.
And he always had time on his hands.
4 bodies have been discovered and the killer is still at large.
Until one of them
What's happening to me?
got a mind of its own.
I have no control over my hand. It makes me do things I don't want it to do.
Aren't you a little old for Ding Dong Ditch?
Sorry about your bush.
I'm gonna call 911. What's the number?
I'm not the killer.
Okay. I mean, if OJ could get off, then I'm sure. You there?
Now, his hand won't stop.
I don't want to hurt you. They don't! Ew, that's disgusting.
His friends won't die.
You're dead. Undead, actually. And there was this big bright white light at the end of a long tunnel.
So what happened?
We were like, forget that, man. It's too far.
And the only way to stop it
Idle hands are the devil's playpen, so keep my hands occupied, right?
is to keep it busy.
Freeze! Drop the knitting needles. That's probably not a good idea.
Put him down! Cuff me!
Put those needles down, young man! Down!
Cuff me! Columbia Pictures presents
The police have no leads, and the killer is still out there.
You scream like a girl.
the comedy
Careful, it's on kind of loose. That's really starting to get on my nerves.
that dares to give scary movies
Look at me! I'm in the face!
the backhand.
What you doing, man? That's my dad. Come on.
CPR, man. I saw him Baywatch. Did you lose something there, bud? Idle Hands. The touching story of a boy and his hand.
Kinky.
Fly for a white guy.